As I have already emphasised, the strategic framework is deliberately cautious at this stage, but I want to be clear that in the coming weeks, if the data allows and positive trends continue, we will seek to accelerate the easing of the restrictions. However, the framework today provides detail on what, as of now, we expect our next changes to be. Firstly, it confirms that, if all goes according to plan, we will move fully back to a level system from the last week in April. At that stage, we hope that all parts of the country currently in level 4 will be able to move out of level 4 and back initially to level 3, possibly with some revision to the content of the levels, and afterwards to levels dependent on incidence and prevalence of the virus at that time. The advantages of the level system, of course, is that it will allow us to let some parts of the country move faster than others if the data supports that. Moving back to the variable level system at that time will also be contingent on us having vaccinated all JCVI priority groups 1 to 9, which, as I said earlier, we hope to have done by mid-April. That matters not only because these groups will be more protected, but also because we believe that vaccinating around half of the population will have a significant effect on reducing transmission across society as a whole. And although we don't yet know exactly how big an effect that will be, we do hope and believe it will give us the headroom to carefully ease restrictions. It is therefore from the last week of April that we would expect to see phased but significant reopening of the economy, including non-essential retail, hospitality and services like gyms and hairdressers. And of course, the more of us who are vaccinated and the more we all stick by the rules now, the faster that safe pace is likely to be. If we all stay in this together, our progress will be greater. As I said earlier, we will set out more detail in mid-March on the indicators that will guide our decisions on levels, as well as on any revision to the content of each level, and will take account of our experience and of sectoral views, and also the order in which we expect those parts of the economy that have been restricted to start reopening from the last week of April. I want now, though, to set out the journey from here to the end of April. We envisage a progressive easing of the current level 4 restrictions that apply across most of the country at intervals of at least 3 weeks, along with changes nationally on education and care home visiting, and the immediate priority will continue to be the return of schools. All of these easings will, of course, depend on an assessment that it is safe to proceed. The first easing started yesterday with the partial return of schools. In addition, universities and colleges are able to bring back a small number of students, no more than 5% of the total, where face-to-face teaching is critical. We will also ease restrictions on care home visiting from early March, and guidance was set out at the weekend. The next phase of easing will be a minimum of 3 weeks later, so indicatively from March the 15th. We hope that this will include the next phase of school return, which will start with the rest of primary school years 4 to 7, and also getting more senior phase secondary pupils back in the classroom for at least part of their learning. We also hope in this phase to restart outdoors non-contact group sports for 12 to 17-year-olds, and we will also aim to increase the limit on outdoor mixing between households to 4 people from a maximum of 2 households, compared to 2 people from 2 households just now. And then a minimum of 3 weeks after that, so from the 5th of April, it is our hope and expectation at this stage that the stay-at-home restriction will be lifted. We would aim for any final phase of school return to take place on this date. Communal worship will also, we hope, restart around the 5th of April, albeit with restricted numbers to begin with. However, in deciding the exact date for this, we will obviously take account of the timing of major religious festivals, for example, Easter and Passover, so it may be a few days earlier when communal worship can restart. And we will seek to ease the restrictions on household gatherings further so that at least 6 people from 2 households can meet together. In this phase, we will also begin the reopening of retail. That will start with an extension of the definition of essential retail and the removal of restrictions on click and collect. And then 3 weeks after that, as I indicated earlier, so from the 26th of April, assuming the data allows it, we will move back to levels with hopefully all of Scotland that is currently in level 4, moving to level 3, albeit with some possible modifications. And at that stage, we will begin to reopen the economy and society in the more substantial way that we are all longing for.